Welcome back to Inexperience Points, everybody. Thank you for joining us this week. I'm one of your hosts, Savvy.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Dzor B, aka Vibrant Zora. Welcome back.
Got a good chuckle out of both of you.
It's going in.
Please, by all means.
But yes, welcome. This should be episode 6, as long as I'm doing the math properly. Should be episode 6, so welcome, guys.
If not, what are you guys gonna do?
Yeah, what are you gonna do about it from that side of the screen?
You should like and subscribe so we can get our numbers right.
Yeah,
That's what you should do.
Punch that subscribe button, punch that like button, and definitely punch your friends when you share them.
Wait a minute.
Unless I'm one of your friends, and please don't hit me. I've been through enough.
Yeah, she broke her knee.
That means you need to spear her. RKO.
Spear me? RKO? Dude, if someone were to like flip me over and do that, dude.
Oh, suplex?
Yeah.
What the
I wouldn't be mad. I would be surprised.
Speaking of suplex, okay, this is we're gonna talk about games for a second. There's this game that I've been playing. It's called Rumbleverse. Okay, you see me.
I've watched your stream. Vibrant Zora on Twitch.
Yes, Vibrant Zora on Twitch. That game is it's a battle royale wrestling kind of a game. I've never cussed at a game so much. Like, by myself, I'm just playing this game, dude. It is, I would say, the most balanced game ever. It's fun.
Okay.
Yeah, it's balanced when you're winning and unbalanced when you're losing.
Oh, so
Pretty
it's
much,
fair.
yeah.
It's only fair when you're winning.
Yeah. It really seems that way, but all across the board, it's a real well balanced game. Like, really nice. But spearing people in that game, it is devastating. Like, the way that you can spear people, like, catch them in the air, and then, like, they'll go from 1 to, like, 20 miles per hour. Like, down a building, whatever. It's great.
Knock them out of the ring.
Yeah. This is not something to promote. I'm just saying. Or we have the money to promote it. I'm just saying. It's a good game. And if you guys want to meet me on there, because I'll do work. Anyways.
Yeah, I've looked into it. I was gonna actually download and play it, and then I found out it was a wrestling game, so I decided to not go about doing that. Not that I have anything against wrestling, it's just not really my cup of tea.
You guys heard it here first. Zach is very prejudiced against wrestling games.
Yeah, well, first of all, wrestling games are never made well. They're not. Sorry if you're a wrestling game fan. Name the last wrestling game that was good in the last 15 years.
WWE? I don't know.
Exactly.
I think there was one. It was like backyard wrestling, but that was like 20 years ago.
That was like, yeah. The last 10 something, maybe 15 is a little too generous. Someone's gonna correct me on that. But the last 10 years, for sure, they've all been crap that's been shoveled by EA.
Yeah.
And it's either the same game. Well, it is the same game because they're all buggy and a mess, and you always get those videos of them glitching through the floor and like their face textures all wrapping weird around like their eyeballs and stuff and their teeth and the models. It's so weird. Like,
Ooh, the teeth. Okay.
This is by like
weird.
Fortnite, or not Fortnite, but Epic.
Epic, yeah.
So it's like a melee, like grappling kind of a game, but it's like a game of rock, paper, scissors when it comes to a lot of the moves. And it's very like I think it's very diverse when it comes to like the moveset and everything like that. So, I mean, it's very different from the WWE, but I can understand like some games on that melee, whatever. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but
it looks like it plays like a fighting wrestling version of Knockout City.
yes, yeah, in a way, yeah,
because that game has the same. It's like you can pass, you can throw, you can charge throw, you can up or side throw, and curve the ball. So it's about like you having to anticipate the other player's actions and adjust accordingly to what they do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's same like art style, but
yeah, I mean, graphically too. Except for everyone in Knockout City just plays Guy Fieri. So at least that's what I do. Me and my buddy Ish, we played that game the day or the week it came out.
Mm-hmm.
We unlocked, the first thing we did was unlock that suit, the fire suit that makes you look like Guy Fieri.
Mm-hmm.
The car that you drive in on, flaming Guy Fieri did blonde,
Mm-hmm.
and then we made a guild or whatever they're called in that game, the teams, and we called it Flavatown. And we all just, the three of us would just roll in and just steamroll everyone trying to get used to the game.
You guys are awful. That's amazing.
That lasted like a week, but
That is amazing.
I'm still part of it. I downloaded it on PS5 to check it out and see how it plays since it went free to play, and I'm still part of Flavortown, so.
Still part of it.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Okay. Well, what we have going on today, what we are trying to talk about, there's a couple of things that we're going to talk about. I don't know if...
Yeah, what did you want to... We all had different things to bring up. Mine are, like, not super important or vastly interesting. They're just little things that I've found. There is one thing, but I don't want to bring it up till probably next week.
Okay.
Until I do some more personal research on it.
Okay.
But
Everything I would like to talk about is utter nonsense. So if someone with a cohesive thought can start, that's fine.
Well, okay. Really thinking about this because I've been watching a couple videos, and I don't know if you guys know a YouTuber who started out on Vine, became like a big YouTuber. She started doing music, everything like that, poetry. I don't know if you guys know the name of Gabby Hanna.
Oh, yeah.
I do know Gabby Hanna.
And like
certainly do.
recent like news on like what has been happening
I
with
am
her.
vaguely familiar with it. I have stayed away from things Gabby Hanna ever since she had her last like
She's
mental break.
Yeah.
a
I
new
think that
one.
she needs to get help.
Yeah.
And needs to need support from the people in her life. But I'm not aware at all about the recent happenings of Gabby Hanna.
Yeah. So so the biggest thing with her that just happened recently was that she just went through I wouldn't call it a breakdown, but a manic episode.
Yes.
I would say that. And she goes from one thought to another, like really quick. And there were some people in the comments, like, of course you won't really know who is an actual like doctor or those who actually studied and graduated in that field. But the major or I think the common denominator of all of the consensus is that she is having like a that kind of breakdown.
She's having like manic episodes.
Yeah, those episodes, and just because of how she goes about from one thought to another, and the series and all that kind of stuff that goes into it. Basically, she is, like at a place where she cannot be stable until she gets like actual
Professional help. Yeah.
Professional help. And it's really sad to see, but I think the reason why I bring it up is because when it comes to YouTube, when it comes to putting yourself out there and all that kind of stuff, you have to be really careful about what you do and how you go about things. In her case, it wasn't really well done, and it might have been because of the people around her, everything like that, but also her having to take accountability for the things that she's done. There's a lot of things, and
A lot of layers to it.
Yeah, a lot of layers to it. But I mean, I think the really big message behind it is that when you're going to be stepping out and doing something like this and putting yourself out there,
Yep.
you have to be able to be disciplined to take care of yourself and know who you are, all that kind of stuff, because it is very dangerous to be out there and not know what to do, and people catch you slipping, everything like that. You are out, and next thing you know, you're losing your mind. And this is kind of like, you don't have to live it to understand, like, this is an example, so you got to be careful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think there are some people out there that have seen it and don't want to put themselves out because they're afraid of da-da-da-da. But the reason why I bring her up is because I don't want people to be in a creative space and not be able to put their creativity out there, and so on and so forth. But to like have a heat of warning, like, hey, you do have to be careful, but don't withhold something great, something that you've been creatively wanting to do for a long time, especially if you're a comedian or just an artist. There are things that you can put out there, contribute to the community, and it's really great. Go out there and do it, but make sure you have people in your corner. Make sure that
absolutely.
Well, I think we've seen really bad examples of this too in the past, especially with other content creators. Etika always comes to mind. Yeah. Very bad manic episodes that he had on and off camera, and he was just pushed and pushed and pushed till he unfortunately was like convinced to end his life. Yeah. By people, but yeah, it's like those types of issues are very difficult to like, because it is it is more than just having people on your side. Obviously you have to have close friends and family to like be able to go to in situations like that, but yeah, and I don't know, like I said, I don't know anything about the Gabby Hanna situation, so I don't know how she's acting or what specifically, and I don't know her personally, so I couldn't really even chime in on it. But yeah, some people do like have issues that they struggle with specifically, like that, who are just creative people who put themselves out there, and then with everyone else's input, just doesn't go well.
Yeah. With mental health and putting yourself on a spotlight, like mental health is a beast of its own. Like even for people who are not like long-term mentally ill or anything like that, or have like a sickness or something, like you can go through things and you will see people start out on the internet like seemingly normally fine, and then they'll end up like years later talk about like, oh, the whole time I was posting in the beginning I was heavily depressed and like I was going through things, but then I'd post good content, like whatever. And you realize like, dang, like first of all, I know nothing about this person aside from like the viewer relationship I have with them. But then you also like begin to realize like some creators get like coddled, like, oh my gosh, you're so good, you're so amazing, like absolutely love you. And then like take this Gabby Hanna situation, like she has her fans who are like all about her and stuff, but then like the rest of us, like I look at her, like I feel bad for her, like when she was going through it a couple weeks ago, she literally like just, I was reading some stuff and I was like, she's going through a manic episode. And I don't want to be like an armchair therapist or like a keyboard therapist being like, this girl is mentally ill. But like you can just like, from the experience I have with like mental wellness and all that stuff, is like I'm seeing alarming things happening, and even if it's not to the degree where people are like it's a manic episode, I'm recognizing red flags. And sometimes the internet is cruel and will egg it on. So even if she started with a small flare-up or something, like was off, the internet definitely went at her. Because she hasn't been on my radar for years. Since like, oh my gosh, since she did there was a YouTube thing, like Escape the Night. And like, that was like the last time I heard of her. And then suddenly she appeared like all on my social media out of nowhere. And it's just because the internet and its cruelty was like egging her on. And of course, when you're going through manic episodes, you tend to like get more and more like hyped up the more like out of touch you become. So there's a whole lot, like I feel for her. She's not my cup of tea as a creator, but like this whole world of like mental health like needs to actually be like in a brighter light and not seen as like awful, because there's just people like making fun of her for like her illness or what she's going through.
Yeah, and like people don't take mental health seriously too. It's something
true.
that's invisible, and you can't tell like who has struggles with mental health and who doesn't, unless they directly tell you. And even if they tell you and you don't experience that type of mental illness yourself, like you it's hard to relate with other people when you don't experience that thing. They can describe it to you, they can tell you, and even though you know that and they've told you something like that before, like you will, like people who don't struggle with it will forget and like not, you know, do any, you know, they'll forget and think that everything's okay and not check in, and then people struggle. Like it's a very complicated web of things that, you know, people struggle with, I think.
Right. And like I just wanted to touch back on something Mikey mentioned, like artists and creatives. Like it is so common for creative people or artists in general to be dealing with something on like a deeper level. I know, like for example, like Van Gogh, like he didn't just cut off his ear because he loved that woman. Like something was going on with him, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, you always hear about like these tragic lives of like writers who like wrote beautiful stories or great things, and then they're like, oh, but they were like in their own personal turmoil. And it's because these creative people, they do feel like, creative people in general feel deeply, but I feel like creative people feel deeper, and their expression of that will be these things that move other people because it's coming from a raw place, right? And I do some stuff like hobby wise in arts and whatnot, and it's usually just to get out of my system. Like I'm not feeling too happy, I'm gonna create it out of me, and then I feel better. But like I'm no stranger to mental health and stuff, and like I really think like it's not always just like let me create something out of it. Like there's a lot of things you have to go through to make sure like that this is like taken care of.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think people go into situations ill prepared as well, especially like it's so easy to think, you know, hey, I'm going to make this content. Like I'm going to sit down, I'm going to talk in front of a camera, I'm going to edit it up and put all my effort and time, and I'm going to spend 6 hours doing this, and I'm happy with it. I upload it, and you either don't get seen, or people will tell you that what you created sucks, or that you suck, or your voice is annoying, and they'll point out different flaws. And I'm not saying that that's everyone's experience, but that will happen. If you want to put content out on the internet, you need to be 100% aware that people are going to say bad things about you.
Yeah.
And, you know, someone can tell you, hey, I love you, I think you're amazing. And then when 10 other people tell you, or I have this backwards, 10 people could tell you, hey, I love you, I think you're amazing, but one person says, hey, no, you suck, you're the worst person I've ever seen, ever met in my entire life. And that one comment will stick with you through everything. And that obviously, you know, different people can shrug that off, but when you're struggling with different, you know, mental health problems, like that can just eat away at your soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Yeah.
And some of it goes unchecked. Like if you have everyone has a normal meter because like how we're raised, like whatever we feel like is the way reality is to ourselves, like that's what tells us. And sometimes what our normal meter will tell us is not like the standard of what should be okay in your life, you know?
Yeah.
Like some people just think it's like okay, like that there's getting yelled at or screamed at every day or something, or like, oh, just like another day, like someone telling me I'm really crappy and like their normal meter is broken.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and then I'm not trying to say that we all should have the same one, but there's definitely like a line on that meter that should be saying like, this is not okay. And some of those just like some people like they're like their meter is always in the not okay area, so that becomes their normal.
Yeah.
And you don't even like know like there's something better for you.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, personally, speaking from personal experience, like I've struggled a lot in my life about like being emotionally open and talking to people about how I feel or what I think is okay and not okay, and I've tended to just play the background character for the most part. And I have done things lately being like the past couple of years, to work through those issues and do that. But some people never. I do feel like I came to that conclusion of my own through trial and error and relationships with people. But some people never come to that conclusion. They never try to fix that meter. They never go, hey, yo, yeah, what happened to me back then? sucked. Like, that was not right. That was not okay. The people who talked to me the way that they did when I was a child, like, or growing up, shouldn't have talked to me that way. Like, that's not normal. That's not how everyone,
Well, when you don't realize it's broken, you don't know there's something different. Like, you're always in the red area when you should, like, sometimes be in the yellow versus the green. I should draw you guys a diagram. I love the normal meter analogy. But
come on now.
like, I really just think, like, even, like, I know for me in my journey, I saw other people being happy. I was like, I don't feel that way ever. And that's kind of what, like, ticked for me. Like, maybe there's something that can change. And I got really fortunate where someone decided to, like, pay for, like, therapy for me. And I was like, oh, wow, soy broken. I'm broken. And that, like, kind of was, like, the catalyst for me to start getting better and realizing, like, oh, I'm living, like, in despair and turmoil. And this is not, like, what every day should be like. Like, there should be highs and lows, and I'm constantly in a low. But it's taken me years. Like, this started when I was, like, 18, and here I am, like, 9 years later, barely still learning things about myself.
Man, yeah. I think, because one thing that I know is that when I first stepped into, or I got into therapy, was I got to make sure that I am putting to work what I've learned and what I've talked about. And I think that's a dangerous thing, is what people do is that they get into therapy and counseling, whatnot, and they know the language, but they don't actually live the life. They don't go through the steps and actually apply to their lives. And it's dangerous because there's some people that will do that and will try to teach other people to, and I've seen that happen in my own life, to where there have been people that went to therapy, but you could tell that they are living this life of, well, I know this now, and they'll try to teach you and try to teach other people, but behind closed doors, they're not mentally well, and they're not really doing well for themselves. And so, I mean, for me, when I saw that and when I learned, I'm like, dang, like, I was at a place where, like, I saw people being happy and being real with themselves about what they were creating, what they were doing, and I realized, I'm like, I am holding back my feelings and not dealing with them the way that I should be. And so now, like, when I see this, I'm upset. When I see that, even though, like, I'm like, oh, this is great. Like, I can't even be happy for people, or, I can't be happy for myself. Like, oh, no, like, something good happens. I'm like, I'm just wondering when this will end. Like,
just going through the motions. Like, you're showing up and that's it.
Yeah.
I get that.
And so there was a journey, and I'm happy that I'm better off, and I'm realizing, like, okay, putting that to work and understanding, like, I can be happy. And there, like you said, there will be tough days, there'll be good and bad days, but
absolutely,
honestly, like, it's very worth it. Like, it's difficult, actually going to that very thing that caused so much in your life, whether it was a traumatic experience when you were younger, or things that you didn't fully understand in certain situations, and just gaining perspective. So when it comes to, you living your life and, your creativity, all that kind of stuff, it's just take time to, do better for yourself, just get well and enjoy your life. There's so much to enjoy. Yes, the world is cruel, but I think that there's a lot of beauty in, even in, like, the difficulties in our life. And I mean, I even seen it, like, for us, like, we've been, how long have we been friends for? Like, a while.
I've known you for years, but
2-3 weeks.
How many episodes do we have?
Yeah.
No, oh my gosh. I know, like, we really established friendship when we were, like, 18, 19, but, like, I've known you for years because we've been in the same circles.
Yeah. And our sisters know each other, though.
We always got brought to parties that our siblings were invited to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always the tag-alongs.
Dang, we missed out on yours, Mikey. Our introverted selves just waiting for our sisters to take us home. Just in the opposite corners of the room. Like, they're having so much fun. I
Seen
wish
them
I
from
could be
across
playing
the
my
room
game.
being like, hey, can we go? No? Okay.
Texting them like, hey, like, I've been here for an hour.
Shoot, there have been a couple of times that has happened. We'll always talk about the story about when I was the one that was crippled.
Yes.
Now it's
This
Savvy.
is my favorite story.
So we were at a sort of like a barbecue, and it was pretty much like the
4th of July.
Yeah, yes, 4th of July, like a barbecue, pool party, hangout, whatnot. And so this was just like young adults, pretty much. Like my sister, she was like, "You want to go?" And I'm like, "Okay, all right, cool." And so I was in a cast because I got surgery on my foot to.
Wait, which foot is it? Your right foot or your left foot?
Left.
Okay.
This is my left foot.
Okay, yeah.
And this was to put an arch in it and whatnot. So, anyways, we go to this pool party, and like everyone's just eating, having a great time. Sun goes down, it gets dark, and so we were in the street of that neighborhood. And I don't know how like neighbors like didn't do anything or say anything, but a few of the guys had fireworks, and you can even you bring stuff in when you can. But my perspective is that they brought out some fireworks, and they were lighting these things in the middle of the street. One of the guys decided to put a
Oh, there was 2 of them there was like of that like group of friends, like 3 of them that came together and decided we should do a butt crack bottle rocket.
Okay, so there's a few of them.
So the one who is my cousin David, was the one who convinced his friend Preston, who's now my brother-in-law. I shouldn't be naming names, but too late. Convinced my now brother-in-law to do like the bottle rocket and his butt crack. I have a video. I'll have to send it to you guys. It's so funny.
Man.
But they like decide we're gonna put like a bottle rocket in someone's butt crack, and that did not fare well. They lit the firework, and it immediately scorched my brother-in-law's butt. And because of that, like he went to like jump away and like jump forward, the bottle rocket like fell out and launched towards all of us on the side by the like the corner. And it was me, a group of girls, like our sisters, whatever, and Mikey. And as soon as that bottle rocket took off, everybody ran away.
Everybody ran. I was sitting on the curb because I'm like, I was chilling, and I see that, and I'm like, I turn, and I look, everyone's running away, and I look again, I'm like, oh, it's on the ground, and it's spinning, it's like going this way, and I'm like, it's getting closer, so I'm like, oh god, so I'm like.
As all the girls and I are halfway across the street to get away from this, I hear someone yell, "Where's Mikey?" And I turn around and look, and this fool's finally in his crutches, and all I hear is like him going top speed.
And from that point, I learned how to walk on just my crutches, like without my foot down. I was like, from that point on, I'm like, no. But my sister was laughing at me. You know, some of them were laughing at me, but it was
favorite
fun.
memory.
That is horrible.
It is so funny. And that's like forever cemented in my brain that Mikey was that guy on crutches during the butt bottle rocket.
Everyone left me to die.
They did. No, you had like no one. Like there must have been like 10 of us too. Like it wasn't like just 3 people. It was like 10 of us, and no one stopped to check if you were up.
Yeah, it was like a group over here, a group like right here, and then you know the few that had the fireworks, and I'm like, okay, cool. So when that happened, because for some reason I think I had my head down, and I look away. And I look up and I look to the side. Everyone's running. I look back. The freaking rocket's on the ground, you know, going mad crazy, and it's getting closer to me. I'm like, God. So, yeah. But just to say that life is beautiful. Sometimes, you know, it's the craziest things that will be good memories and whatnot.
All of that to get back to what we were talking about, that just shows how long we've known each other.
Yeah.
But like even just like knowing like how we've just grown up and like come out of our shells a lot and like yeah made tremendous work. And
I mean, I can say for all of us, I think we're better for it. You know, I think, you know, we're doing this, and this takes a lot of like us coming out of our shells in a way.
Yeah, that's true. I would consider us like some of like the 3 most introverted people.
Yeah.
Amongst our circles.
Yeah. It's very true.
Actually, speaking of being introverted, I was gonna talk about that. But there's a lot of people who like accuse me, not accused, like I'm not a poor soul, like I'm being accused. There's a lot of people recently.
She's been accused.
I've been accused many times, but this is not an accusation. Who have like told me like, oh, you're such an extrovert, like you're so out there and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I have a personality, and you're seeing it shine because I've been rested.
Yep.
Yeah, like, you know, I went through my like socially awkward like teenager introvert phase where I didn't talk to anyone or look at anyone. But like that was before I knew how like to take care of like, being an introvert. But now I'm like, no, I'm just amongst people that I enjoy, and I like it's a safe place to be around, and I've got personality.
Yeah.
And I'm also Latina, so I get loud for no reason. Can't help that. That's in the genes.
What's wild is to me, you've never been like that loud. I mean, like, after a while, we know that you're there, but it's kind of like not like obnoxious or anything like that. Like, so it's strange, but it's also funny. It's great.
I have my loud moments. There's just it's like when the audacity finally hits me and I'm being ridiculous. But that's also like at the end of like my meter to be around people.
Yeah.
Where when I'm just getting a little too crazy and it's like, oh, I'm out of energy and I'm like sputting on fumes right now.
It's the greatest thing when you see an introvert, like they're in a like comfortable space and they are talking, do all kinds of stuff, and then the next hour they're chilling. They're like trying to get their stuff, trying to see who's paying attention so they can get their getaway. AKA I'm that person. After a while I'm like, I'm out.
100%.
I love that Michael just disappears. Like Mikey, like not that you're gone. I'm like, oh, thank God he's gone. That's not it. Like I will know he's getting ready to leave because I'll see him like he has like this movement and like he'll like do like that leg slap thing and he's getting ready to go. He suddenly has his backpack on. Didn't even show up with a backpack, but now he's leaving with a backpack. And like I know like unless I like make eye contact and do that like chin nod like peace out dude, like I'm not gonna see him ever again because he's gone.
Yeah, I actually saw a tweet or something like that of you always have that one friend or whatever that will show up to a function or whatever and will not announce when they leave, and they'll just leave. They'll wait until the time where no one's paying attention and they'll leave. And I'm like, I've never related to a tweet more than this.
No, that's on brand of you. Very on brand.
I don't do that. I have to say bye to like the people that like, who, if it's like a get together or like a party, it's usually at someone's house. I always have to go up and be like, oh hey, hi, thanks for inviting me. And I don't talk to anyone for like 2 hours. And then I go, oh hey, yeah, it was super fun. It's great. I'm gonna go home and play Final Fantasy.
It was quite like the stars had aligned for all 3 of us to get together at that last party we were at.
Yeah.
Like we found each other.
This probably really wouldn't have happened, this whole podcast, if we all didn't attend the same get together, which was our friend's birthday.
Yeah, thanks for being born.
Yeah, so
34 years in the making.
Yeah, we all happened to be there. We all happened to sit down and talk for the whole time. And then just happened. Just worked out.
I don't know about you guys. I'm normally at the mercy of like whoever drives me to parties. I have my own car. I just like to roll up with someone because I get like social, like not anxiety, but I get like this like thing in my head sometimes where I'm like, I know I was personally invited by the host, but I'm not going to show up unless I'm with someone who I know was also invited. Just in case. They can't kick us both out.
Is that where your brain goes?
Oh yeah, for some reason, even like if Michael had like I keep saying Michael today. Wow, if Mikey had a party and told me, Savvy, I want you there. You're my buddy. I would be like, oh my gosh, Zach, are you going? I'll come with you.
Savvy, I want you there. You're my buddy.
Something in my brain tells me you're not invited. That might be the issue.
Ever since I've had kids, it is if my wife goes, I don't go. If I go, she does not go.
Oh.
That's our play right now. Not really our play, you know, like that's not our game plan. Sometimes we both would like to go to something, or we both do go to something. We do get a kid to go, like a kid watcher, I was going to call them, but a grandparent to come watch the child.
A kid watcher.
The childs, the children. But yeah,
Baby wrangler.
most of the time it's like
I like that one.
Yeah, most of the time it's one or the other.
Okay.
And that happened to be that situation. She wanted to go, but she's like, you should just go because they're going to appreciate you more if you show up. That's what she told
honey.
me. Well, not like in that way, but like
he never
she's like, I
shows
see
up
that
at-
person every day. Like I work with them. It's
Yeah.
going to be more special like if you go.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
So I was like, I guess. No, I legitimately did go, and I, had fun. It was good. I walked in. I saw no one I knew there. I was like, oh, this is gonna.
That's one thing that I hate.
suck.
That's one thing.
I was there for like 4 hours. I was like, dude, I'm not gonna be able to talk to anyone. But luckily, I saw one of our mutual friends. Went and sat by him, and then you showed up, and then Mike showed up.
You just trickled in.
Yeah.
No, yeah. But to my initial point, I'm usually at the mercy of someone who drives me because of like my weird insecurity. And so there's some days where I'm just like waiting for hours. Like I have to be better. I cannot go with my super social butterfly friend because then I'll be there till like I have like no gas in like my tank, like emotionally.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm tired. But then this party, I went with a friend who like was like, we gotta go. Or she wasn't like forcing me or anything, but she's like, we do have to get going next soon. And I'm like, oh, but like the night just started and I have so many things to talk about.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe I should just drive myself so I can be on my time, like the adult I am.
Man, talk about driving yourself. Like I'm not a person to, was it carpool?
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I will. Hey, you want to carpool over there? No, I'm good. I'm just gonna be honest. There's 90% of the people that we know do not drive good. I do not trust them. And even if they drove excellently, I still want to be in control of me driving. Like, 'cause
100%.
just
said
like
if
how I
I'm-
talked about, I want to be able to leave when I want to leave.
That makes a lot of sense. I need to get that in my brain, but I'm like, let's ride together.
Yeah. That's why I hate roller coasters. I can't do roller coasters because I am not the person controlling them. Not that like I am terrified of roller coasters, but not that they're like inherently terrifying or scary in any way. I don't do them because I don't control them. If I'm gonna die in a situation, it's gonna be in my own hands.
Chokes himself.
Like I'm gonna be like I'll ride ATVs and quads and I'll do dirt biking.
Okay.
Cool, great, awesome, love it.
Gotcha.
But I hate roller coasters, man. I hate roller coasters. I was like fortunate enough to work myself onto a plane. I was having a panic attack the
No
first time I
way.
got on a plane.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait.
Terrible.
Oh, plane anxiety is the worst anxiety in my opinion. My second trip on a plane was international, and my first one was only like an hour plane ride.
Oh.
So
The difference.
I went from being on a Spirit airline plane for 1 hour, being like, it can't get any worse than this, and then getting on like plane to fly over the ocean, and it got worse.
International.
Yeah, like I basically like my first like plane ride was not plane ride, my first international trip. I forget the plane brand or like the company, but they were basically one step above like what would be the Spirit Airlines of like international travel.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I was like,
So they weren't that good.
they were, I lived. Actually, like I had a great experience, but I just like I was thinking, I was like, this ticket's extremely cheap for the time, and I know this means it's like Spirit cheap. Not that there's anything wrong with Spirit, because if you gotta get places, you gotta get places. But
Yeah.
I've heard Spirit Airline is really bad. The only one that I've ever flown on, I think, was Delta.
I like Delta.
I think it was Delta.
If you want a box, definitely do Delta.
aluminum box.
Yeah, because they like.
What's the international? Was
Even
it?
a box. I'm just kidding.
I'm not following.
It doesn't matter.
I'm sorry.
You have plane anxiety. It doesn't matter.
We're not gonna add on
all that's
anything
going
else.
through my head right now is how terrified I was getting on that plane. I bought CBD pills to like take, and I took like 1 or 2.
How old were you?
And this was like
Oh,
this was like a year and a half ago.
Oh, bro,
this is like 2 years ago.
Congrats, you did it.
Yeah, you did it.
I was 27. And it was just to Texas. I mean, we had June, my first daughter. We didn't have Sage. Alyssa was pregnant. So we had to also fly with a child, which was like
Ooh.
a
Wow.
whole thing. Yeah.
Wow. So your first one was.
Yeah, I was here to Texas. And
Good luck.
And it was like, yeah.
Those are.
Yeah.
That's a different battle.
Yeah, I once we did that and then we got back, I said, I am 1, never getting on a plane again.
Okay.
And 2, the next time we do get on a plane, these girls have to be older. They have to be like 8, 7 or 8. Like,
They have to be able to like know when I need them to stop doing things.
she was like, well, we're gonna have to pay for like a whole plane ticket. I'm just, okay, cool. Like, pay for plane tickets. I gotta buy them tablets, anything to keep them entertained. And like make sure that they're okay, because she was a little on the younger side. She wasn't to the point where we could give her a tablet and her be totally cool the whole time.
Oh.
So it was like 30 minutes and then screaming and crying. So.
Dang, I'm sorry, little baby. Sorry, Zach.
I feel bad for people that have to travel with kids.
Man.
It's terrible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, so like going back to where you're saying, like, 1, you never go on a plane. 2, like, you would have to wait for your kids to be older if like you guys had to travel on the plane.
Yeah.
So if you had to go somewhere and you're going solo, you wouldn't go plane. You would just drive.
If I was going solo,
Yeah.
I think in any situation I'd rather drive. Depends on how far.
He
If
does
it's
wanna
like
be in
here, like we've talked about going up to like Oregon and stuff, and that's like a 18-hour drive. It's a long drive. Would it be probably scenically beautiful and a treat to drive there for the first time? Yeah, probably.
It is beautiful.
But it would probably suck having to do it multiple times.
You'd have
there
to
and back.
drive through Idaho and like upper Nevada, and it's all just flatlands and potatoes.
Yeah.
I've driven from Washington State to Idaho, like stopped in Idaho, like hung out in Boise for like a minute, and then came back to Vegas, and
You
it
said
was
flatlands of potatoes?
yeah,
Idaho?
that's basically what Idaho is.
There's just a giant flat land where they plant a bunch of potatoes.
In fact, the whole state is a potato.
The people there, even more so. Just look like Lalafells everywhere.
The babies are fingerling potatoes. No, yeah, it's just it's not much to look at. I feel like Idaho is pretty.
I'm sorry. Keep going.
I like that laugh. No, like, Idaho can be pretty. It's just where we went through wasn't. And then Nevada is just ugly. I don't care. Like, I'm from here. As a representative of Nevada, the state of Nevada, the Silver State, it is ugly.
Yeah, Nevada, I've lived here since I was in middle school. This place fucking sucks hard dick, dude. This place is the ugliest piece of shit I've ever lived in my entire life. I recently, within the past year or 2, went back to go to Arizona. People who think that this desert has anything to offer, they're full of shit. Arizona's desert is actively just beautiful. They have wildlife and plants and like colored rocky mountains. Like,
We have
dude,
Red
fucking
Rock.
out here, Red Rock is beautiful. I'll give you that. However, everything else leading up to Red Rock is just dirt. It's like if you've ever watched a movie and someone's walking through a desert and they're walking through like what used to be water and there's just cracks in the ground. That's all of Nevada.
You know,
and I've only been to the southern little peninsula, the little Vegas part. That's all of Nevada.
No, I take back my statement about Nevada being ugly because I vacation in Tahoe like every year now, and that's a pretty part of Nevada. But I have a point to make now that I think about it. The pretty parts of Nevada are where the borders are. So like Tahoe's beautiful because it's also bordering California.
It's basically just the other states that are.
they're sharing their beauty with us.
Yeah.
I love Nevada. Don't get me wrong. Like I think it's cool. Like I sing like the Home Means Nevada song to myself sometimes when I'm bored, doing menial tasks.
Nerd.
Yeah, that's right. That's what my education gave me was Home Means Nevada. In off-key and ridiculous chords.
Children's high-pitched voices.
Oh my gosh, yes.
You ever heard children sing?
Oh.
As an adult.
Oh my gosh, children are...
Oh, sorry, go on.
I know, but no, like, I'm just come to the conclusion. It's wherever, like, we border is where Nevada is beautiful.
Yeah. Wow. Nevada fucking wow.
Mikey's over
It
here.
wouldn't. It would also be better.
It's the noodles in bed again.
No, let me tell you something.
He's like,
I would, if I had the money, if I had the chance, the opportunity to move somewhere else, I would. I cannot take it here any longer. I mean, I will, but it's just, it's hot. There's just really nothing. I mean, I don't know. I need more green. Like
I could see you like.
Else. Well, even the green that's
Newport.
here, the trees that they plant don't fucking belong here because nothing belongs here.
None of the plants
Dude,
literally that I'm staring at out these windows are indigenous.
We have palm trees here. You think palm trees grow in the middle of a desert where they've buried mafia? Like, no. No, there's nothing grows out here, dude. There's literally like everything here is artificial. We have fish in this town. You can go down and buy seafood. You can buy whatever you want from the grocery store. None of it grows in a 1,000-mile radius to here. Everything has to be transported here. And it would also help if we painted any of our fucking buildings here not dirt colors. Let's pick a different color other than what's already here, because it makes everything else look like dirt, and everything just looks dirt, and everything's
red,
exactly
brown. That other shade of brown. You know which brown I'm talking about.
You can't go too dark with colors. You can't go too light with colors. Everything is just a monotoned, just
so true.
Dirt.
I mean, but there are some places where it only like the color of the houses and the buildings and whatnot go with the aesthetic of the rest
landscape,
of the
yeah.
Well, when we moved to Utah, Utah's way different. None of the houses look the same. It's not like they built out and had 3 floor plans that they just mirrored every other time that they built each floor plan.
Yeah.
All the houses are different. It's
like
obviously grassy, and there's trees there, and wildly there's seagulls there. That's a whole Mormon conspiracy that we can go into.
It's because of Salt Lake.
Yeah, I know, but they think that like God put them there. But that's what the thing that sucks about Utah is fucking. It's a Mormon state. It is a hardcore Mormon state. Like, and it's so much to the point that like Mormon religious opinions are written into the laws of Utah. Like, you can't purchase alcohol on Sundays there. Like, that type of weird things. Not that I was just hardcore trying to drink alcohol when we lived there.
This dude was trying to go, like, on a bender, and he's like, why can't I get drinks?
Deal with this.
But, okay. With that being said, I'm very spoiled from living in Vegas. I have no sense of time as to, like, what's an appropriate hour to be getting a burger, because every hour is appropriate in Vegas. If I want, like, anything at any time, like, I have access to it, and like, even if I wanted to like go to like the club like at 8 p.m., like I could be late to that, get there at 9, and it's barely getting going because they're gonna be going until 4.
Yeah. The nightlife here is weird too, because like you don't think that places like McDonald's close ever, because they don't here. Every fast food place is 24/7.
It's
like,
gosh.
Well, it was like a lot more like I felt like a lot more things were open, like pre-COVID, and then now that COVID has like changed a lot of things. Yeah. There was a Taco Bell that used to be by my house that was 24/7, and then it like had to close for COVID, and then they opened up and they're like, oh, we're only open for like 10 hours of the day, and that like shook my brain. I was like, not my Vegas, like this isn't home. Like, you know, like I was like upset. I was like, this is over. Like we're maskless now. What do you mean?
I do remember that.
I was just like being saddened. And then they took away my pizzas.
The Taco Bell Mexican pizza? Wait, hold on. You like the Mexican pizza?
I love Mexican pizza. I crave it.
This is a sad thing I'm learning about you.
I also don't get diarrhea from it because I'm superior to some people, but.
Interesting.
You're not lactose intolerant, are you?
I am, but nothing there is real milk.
No, yeah, the cheese there has no lactose in it because it's not real cheese. Yeah.
I am lactose intolerant, and you know what I realized? Your sister actually posted about this like a few months ago, and it like broke my brain because I finally understood why I'm usually like not feeling well every day. Butter is a milk product, and therefore it's lactose. So I would go like on these things like where I'm like, oh man, like no milk, free, like doing like the Chobani oat milk or whatever, the Khalifa Farms. And like, why do I not feel good? Like there must be something wrong with me. And like finally, like your sister posted about like butter being a lactose, and my brain was broken. And like literally I just had like a flash of like all the food I've been like eating. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm just undoing all the work I've been doing. Because of butter.
Wow.
You didn't know how butter was made?
No, I know how butter is made. I've made butter before. I'm so sorry for yelling. It just like, I was shook. I was like, fuck. Like, oh my gosh. I just didn't think about it.
That's amazing.
Oh my god.
No comment.
I mean, you saying that brings to mind like, yeah, I don't necessarily think that butter is like a milk product. It's like a byproduct of milk. Obviously, it is, but I'm also not lactose intolerant, so
you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck lactose intolerant people.
When like majority of my family's lactose, and I'm like,
oh, and you're not?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Because
You're superior.
Listen, one thing about COVID is when Roberto's had to go down like for some months, and I enjoy the carne asada fries there.
Same.
Like, I get 2 carne asada fries every time. But anyways, it's neither here nor there. Just the cheese that's on it, and like, bro, it just adds so much to it. But like I have that, and I'll eat like pizza like once a week. I'm cruising, while my my sister and like my mom, like they're not having the greatest time like in the bathroom. Like, how are you eating all that? I'm like, so I don't know, like, but I'm enjoying it. Like sometimes like I'll get a little gas, but it's not like from that. Like it can be from anything.
Yeah.
But I'm just
That's amazing.
I'll have to share with you guys on our next podcast a story.
Oh, I'm about to say like you're gonna share like you're gonna have gas.
Why don't you end it with a story?
No, this is a long story, and we've shared multiple stories already. I think this one like is an embarrassing poop story that I would like to share.
Oh,
okay.
Poop stories.
Yes, for those who are listening, I love poop stories because they are awful, and everyone has one.
Freak. It's true. Everyone has a poop story.
Everyone does. Like everyone at some point in their life in adulthood will poop themselves or like have poop on them. Hopefully
yeah, I mean, I am a dad, so I've definitely had poop on me.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's
I guess.
How we made the baby.
I guess. Oh my god. I think you might have failed health class. So she has no relation. Never mind.
Anyways, guys, I'll leave with that. My lactose intolerance, a future poop story. Thank you for joining us. Once again, I'm your host, Savvy.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Dizorbi, a.k.a. Brahmanzora.
Thanks for joining us.
What?
I said thanks for joining us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, y'all have a good one.
We're still working on it a little bit, trying to. Is that awkward?
I almost had the whole ending, and y'all just decided to add to it. Peace out, guys. Have a good one. See you next time.
Later.